Hi, guys.
Hello.
Okay.
Hey, everybody.
Hey there.
Hey, how's everyone doing?
Hello.
Doing.
We have everybody. We'll just wait 2 more minutes until 6 o'clock, and then we'll be ready to go. All right, Mr. Green, we have everyone. Are you ready to start?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, sorry. Is this the first time you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that. I just
That's
called you. Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order for January 25th, 2021. I'll do a roll call vote. Green present, Mr. Schulte.
Schulte present.
Walsh.
Walsh present.
Mr. Zanetti.
Zanetti present.
Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick present.
Mr. Hiller.
Hiller present.
Mr. Garcia.
Garcia present.
Okay, we establish a quorum. I'll start the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag.
to the flag of the
of the
United
United
States
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 of America.
and to
And to the republic
for which
for
which
which
it
it stands,
one nation,
one nation,
under
under
God,
God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty.
liberty
And justice
justice
for
for
all.
all.
Item 3 is agenda approval. Ms. Dinowith,
I have no changes.
So
Make a
moved by Zanetti.
Support by Schulte.
motion by Zanetti, support by Mr. Schulte. Mr. Zanetti.
Zanetti, yes.
Mr. Schulte.
Schulte, yes.
Ms. Walsh.
Walsh, yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick, yes.
Mr. Hiller.
Hiller, yes.
Mr. Garcia. Mr. Garcia.
I think he's muted.
Okay, Green, yes. Motion carries. You want to wait for a second?
I asked him to unmute, so we'll see if we can. There you
There
go.
I am. Okay, there was some type of glitch. Garcia, yes.
Thank you.
Garcia, yes, on agenda approval. The motion carries. Item 4 is the minutes from January 11th, 2020. Everyone said happy of those to review.
Motion by Fitzpatrick to accept the January 11th minutes.
Support by Hiller.
Motion by Fitzpatrick, support by Hiller. Any questions? Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick, yes.
Mr. Hiller.
Hiller, yes.
Mr. Schulte.
Schulte, yes.
Ms. Walsh.
Walsh, yes.
Mr. Zanetti.
Zanetti, yes.
Mr. Garcia.
Garcia, yes.
Green, yes. The motion carries. Item 5 is correspondence. There are none. Correct?
Correct.
Item 6 is the treasurer's report. Mr. Cassavan.
Yes, thank you. Tonight, I'd like to present the December 2020 Treasurer's Report. Beginning with the general fund, we had $270,773 in local revenue in the month of December. This is mainly local tax collections from the city of Warren, as well as some investment earnings revenue. State revenue totaled $2,694,147 during the month. That is made up mainly of our state aid payment. We also received reimbursement this month of our Section 107 adult education funds, as well as reimbursement for our GSRP preschool program funds. Looking at the federal revenue in the general fund, we had a total of $341,744. This was all reimbursement funds. We were reimbursed during the month of December for our Title I, Title II, Title IV, IDEA grants, our Perkins grant, as well as an additional payment that came through from the ISD, which was money from Macomb County to help support the purchases of technology equipment. And then the incoming transfer line of $339,202 is a combination of both our special ed millage payment from the ISD, as well as enhancement millage payment from the ISD. So total revenue in the general fund for the month of December, $3,645,866, with disbursements of $2,850,325. And then down at the bottom, you can look at the year-to-date totals through the end of December. And as often happens with our district, when we get to around December is about the time when our revenues and expenses break even. And you can see that, in fact, happened again this year with our year-to-date receipts at $14,086,510, and disbursements through the end of December at $14,181,639. The food service fund, again, we continue to see lower revenue in the food service fund as we continue to navigate the pandemic. Total local revenue in the month of December was $3,447, which is just some a la carte revenue sales as well as some rebate revenue. State aid of $9,730, and then our December food service claims $61,879 for a total revenue for the month of December of $75,055. This fund was impacted again when we did not have all of our students for in-person instruction during parts of December. Disbursements for the month were $82,973. So that fund operated at a deficit of $7,918 for the month of December. In year-to-date totals, we have $514,166 in revenue and $541,641 in expenses. The ISD Centers Program Fund is the last fund in your packet for tonight. The only revenue for that fund for this month was this fund's portion of our state aid payment of $148,385 compared to expenses of $331,157, with our year-to-date totals of revenues $956,657 and expenses of $1,446,961. And that is the December 2020 Treasurer's Report.
Okay, I entertain a motion.
Motion by Zanetti to accept the treasurer's report as presented.
Second by Schulte.
Motion by Zanetti, second by Schulte. Are there any questions? Mr. Zanetti.
Zanetti, yes.
Mr. Schultz.
Schulte, yes.
Ms. Walsh.
Walsh, yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick, yes.
Mr. Hiller.
Hiller, yes.
Mr. Garcia.
Garcia, yes.
Green, yes. The motion carries. Item 7 is payment of the bills.
Yes, Mr. President, tonight I'd like to pay the following 2018 bond $63,666.95, and a 2020 Bond Series 1, $12,631.50.
Motion by Walsh,
Fitzpatrick supports.
support by Fitzpatrick. Are there any questions? Ms. Walsh,
Walsh, yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Fitzpatrick, yes.
Mr. Schulte,
Schulte, yes.
Mr. Zanetti,
Zanetti, yes.
Mr. Hiller,
Hiller, yes.
Mr. Garcia.
Garcia, yes.
Green, yes. The motion carries. Item 8 is old business. There is none. Item 9, new business. Our student representatives, Ms. Denowith.
Yes, we want to welcome back our student reps, Hannah and Kara, to tell you what's going on at the high school now that everybody is back. So ladies, if you could unmute.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, ladies. How
How
are
How
you?
are you guys? Doing well, thank you.
Great.
So there's really nothing much going on at the high school because when like the winter sports had to be pushed back because of the Governor Whitmer put in like that law or whatever you want to call it that you can't play contact sports until February 21st, I believe. So really nothing much. Everyone's just getting back into the new schedule of being back in person, and it's been so nice.
Definitely.
But Miss Denowith and Mr. Cassavon, we have a question for you. Do you think we're gonna have a snow day tomorrow?
You know, we're holding on to hope.
You're so funny. I was just looking at it. Actually, the snow total went down. So sorry to say.
You know what?
Doesn't
I'm holding
look
on to
like
hope
it.
still. Hope's
You're
still
just-
there.
You're just so excited to be back. Why would you want a snow day?
Because
We'll catch up on work.
Snow day.
Catch up
I
on
was
work.
just going to ask that question as well. Last report, you guys were so excited to go back.
Yeah. When we start getting homework though, because we only see our teachers so often, it's a little rough.
Yes.
But other than that, it's been really nice to be back in the classroom though, for sure.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Excellent. It's good to see everyone back. That's for sure.
Yes,
Okay,
that's all we have for you guys.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you
Anybody
for
have any
being here,
questions?
ladies.
Of course.
Thank you.
We definitely appreciate your time and your reports.
Thank you.
The next item is board appreciation, Ms. Denowith.
Yes, this is very strange to do virtually because we usually when we are in person, we have all kinds of signs and videos and things like that from all of our students who have been thankful for everything that the board has done. But obviously in this situation, we can't. So we will celebrate as soon as we can get back together. But we do have in your packet a resolution, and we just want to thank each and every one of you for everything that you have done, not only during the pandemic, but throughout the past year in your oversight of the district and for maintaining strong and high standards for our employees and for our community and balancing the needs of our community with keeping our students and staff safe. We appreciate everything that you do. It is a thankless job to be appointed to a board of education, but we know that you are doing everything that you can with integrity and honor and a commitment to our children's future. And on behalf of myself and our entire staff and all of our students in the community that you serve, we thank you very much.
Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you, Stacy.
Stacy.
Yes.
It is
Thank
an
you.
honor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy.
Stacy, Neil, Garrett, everyone, we appreciate it. Well,
And I know you're still waiting for that leather jacket, Mr. Green, and it's,
I want my
didn't-
leather jacket.
There's
Right
no
now,
leather jacket.
The thing I miss the most is we always got cookies
Yes.
and sweets and stuff.
Yes, no cookies from the Titan Terrace, although they are back, and we do have kids doing their CTE program in the Titan Terrace. So we hope that maybe by the next time we get back together, we will have more exciting treats and things like that for you.
Awesome. I always look forward to that. Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else? Okay, next item is enrollment update. Mr. Kassenbaum?
I'm going to do it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ms.
That's okay. I'm going to share my screen, so it'll stop sharing Kevin's screen. A few weeks ago, I think it was, Mr. Zanetti had asked about when we had students who left us and went in the fall, when we did our fall count. Obviously we know that there was a decrease in our enrollment, and he had asked where those students had gone. So we did a little digging. I'm not going to lie, it's been a little difficult because, as you know, we are down a pupil accounting person, so it took us a little while longer than normal because it's going out and getting some of that data from places that I've never been before, but I have definitely learned a lot. So this is just a quick update on where some of those students that left us, where they may have gone. So just to give you some background information and kind of a reminder for the first enrollment report that Mr. Cassavan did do for you last year in the spring, which would be our February count from last school year, we had a student count of approximately 3,218 students. As you know, in the fall of this current school year, our count had dropped to 3,163 students, and that is a net of the combination of the kids that we had coming in that were new registrants combined with the students that had exited. We saw a total of about 138 new enrollees come into the district, but we had a total number of 193 students exit the district. This obviously is down from us. You can see from the 3,218 to the 3,163. But statewide, obviously, this is something that we're all seeing. So I just have some data here, statewide data that are in the state of Michigan. The fall enrollment was down 53,000 students across the state of Michigan. Normally, over the last 10 years, our public school population declines about 13,000 students annually. We have seen a decrease across the state in the last 10 years, but obviously there's a huge difference between 13,000 and 53,000. From some of the data that the state has been able to gather, approximately 17,000 parents told their districts that they were going to homeschool their students this past fall. That's about 14,000 more than the last couple of years. Usually we see about 3,000 students be homeschooled. Obviously, we think that a lot of that is due to parents perhaps working from home, or they're unemployed, so they are going to take on that the homeschooling of their children this past fall. In addition, across the state, we've seen about 13,000 fewer kindergartners in the fall of 2020, and obviously we think a lot of that is due to parents keeping those students home instead of sending them to school during a pandemic for their first experience, whether it be for wearing masks or a variety of different situations. Across the state, approximately 13,000 kindergartners were kept home for this past fall. And the remaining 13,000 obviously is the ones that we are most concerned about across the state, and those are the 13,000 students that we have no idea where they are, where they have gone. We have some of those here in Warren Woods as well, so I'll give you some information about them in a bit.
I saw something. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I saw something today with Detroit Public Schools that the unaccounted for kids, they had quite a few of them.
Yes, there are quite a few, and we've seen some even in the last few weeks come to register now that second semester has started, and they just say that they weren't comfortable sending their kids back to school in the fall, so they just kept them home, but they didn't do anything with them for any sort of education, and those are across the grade levels.
Thank you.
So for the students that we did lose who exited our district, 193, I think it was, these are just the grade levels for those students that they were at the time when the administrative team was looking at these numbers this morning. We noticed obviously the 23 and fourth grade jumps out. We have a lot of students in the SLI program, the severely language impaired program, who exit us after third grade and go back to their home school. So that could be a part of that larger number. In addition, if there were kids in the kindergarten grades who parents thought that perhaps they couldn't they didn't want to send them back wearing a mask or something like that. I think that's why we see some of those numbers at the first grade. But as you can see, it's pretty well spaced out in the teens across all grade levels for the kids in that number that did not return to us. What we always like to know is where did they go? Obviously, you can see from this graph that the majority of those students, 86 of them, went to another district in Macomb, and I'll go through which districts those might be on the next slide. But 34 of those students moved out of the county, and 29 actually moved out of the state. Obviously, what we've seen is a lot with unemployment and everything that has happened with the pandemic. A lot of people have had to move or uproot or move in with somebody else in their family. So I think that's why you see a lot of these changes, whether it be out of county or out of state or even to another district. You can see our numbers there for 13 chose to homeschool and 10 went to an established virtual charter. I think there was a lot of comparison between what the level of instruction was in the spring, which was vastly different from what it is now. So I think some parents chose to go to a virtual charter that perhaps was established and had some of those protocols already in place. And then the ones that I mentioned that we're very concerned about are the 16 currently that we have no idea where they are at this moment. Of the 86, which districts in Macomb did those 86 go to? Obviously, the largest is Warren Con. That's similar to what we normally see in a, whether it be a schools of choice situation or whatnot. But you see Warren Con, Centerline, Utica, Fraser, Lakeshore. The Utica ones and the New Haven ones are obviously a little higher than we've normally seen. We think that is due a lot to people having to move in with other relatives. The New Haven number seems large, but it's, I think, 4 members of the same family. So that would explain why that number looks the way that it is. But the majority of them did switch to Warren Con. What we're looking at for next steps, and that I wanted to mention, I think is important to point out, we have taken at least 10 new enrollments of Warren Woods residents who have come back to us for second semester. And those are kids that when we ask where they have been, if they're transferring from another district, they were not enrolled at all in the fall. So those would be the ones that, when I mentioned, we went out and looked on the MSDS, the Michigan Student Data System, to see where those students might have been claimed, and they weren't claimed at all by any district. So they have come here now that they feel a little more comfortable with the pandemic, and they're coming back to school. None of those 10, and I know that there are quite a few more, but 10 I could definitely say had not enrolled at all, but none of those 10 were the 16 that I had mentioned earlier. So none of those are the ones from last year that we were with us and now we don't know where they are. These are new families here in Warren Woods that perhaps didn't enroll when they moved in the fall, or have been elsewhere, perhaps schools choicing themselves elsewhere, but were not anywhere for the first 3 months of school. We are continuing to reach out to the 16 students who were not enrolled in the fall count. We've been doing that at the building level and at the central office level. We might try even having some personal contacts with teachers just to make sure, we want to make sure that the students are enrolled somewhere and at least engaging in some sort of instruction. Any questions about that? I know it's a very narrow scope, but that was the question that Mr. Zanetti had asked us a few weeks back of where those students had gone. So this is our best take at that data at this time.
Are there any questions?
Yeah, Stacy, it's Paul Zanetti. Yeah,
Yes.
thank you for the information. It's always interesting to see people moving back and forth, especially Warren Con. I know we lose some and we gain some. It's just constant shuffling.
Yep.
Back and forth with them. Yeah, I guess it's interesting. I mean, from the state, it seems much more dire than maybe we experienced, right?
Yep.
From the total. So that's a good thing. And, not having those students enrolled anywhere in the fall is of concern, obviously. When they come back into the classroom now, they're going to be behind, their peers.
Correct.
So the question is, what do we do to help them, get back up to speed? And do we move into like a summer, it's a summer school program for those, right, to continue on to get caught up, or do we have to hold them back, right, till they complete that?
Yeah.
That
There's gonna
requirement
be-
for that grade. So it's going to be interesting how we move throughout this. But no, it's important that we we maintain a vigilance on this and see where we're at, because obviously we want to make sure every kid's getting educated, whether our district or another district.
Correct.
And try to trace down those 16 kids, because they all matter, right? We know that. So I think we're doing the right thing in that vein, and I appreciate the effort that we're doing to capture them and find out where they're at. And then, obviously we'll deal with the budget issues as we, move into later in the year, but it's just good to know and see the data. So thank you.
You're welcome. And obviously remediation is something that we've been talking about, not only at the district level, but at the county level and the state level. Not even irrespective of the kids that we just talked about, the 16 or the 10 that we got that weren't anywhere in the fall. All of our kids, are going to have some sort of remediation that needs to take place. We have been very lucky here in Warren Woods that we've been in school since September. But if you look at some of the districts that are doing a hybrid model, or some that haven't been in at all, there's going to be a significant amount of remediation that has to take place across the state this upcoming summer and even into the fall of next year.
Anyone else? Again, Paul, thank you for that request for that report. Very enlightening. Appreciate it. Thank you, Ms. Benowitz.
Yep.
The next item is our ceremonial oath of office. Ms. Benowitz.
Yes, we have, as I mentioned at the last meeting, we will be giving today the ceremonial oath of office to both Mr. Zanetti and Mr. Garcia from their recent November election. So, gentlemen, I can't see you, raise your right hand, but we will, I'm going to say the oath and you're going to repeat after me, and I'll break it into nice usable chunks. So, I do solemnly swear or affirm.
I do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support
the
Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Member of Board of Education
of the office of Member of Board of Education
of Warren Woods Public Schools
of Warren Woods Public Schools
in Warren, Michigan, according to the best of my ability.
According to the best of my ability.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We should do the Pledge of Allegiance like that. Sounds better.
We're all over the board on the pledge.
Yes.
Congratulations, guys.
Yes. And thank you for your commitment.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
That was the first.
Yes.
I know. Crazy. Thank you, Mr. Zanetti, Mr. Garcia. Next item is the resolution on school of choice for 21-22, Ms. Denham.
Yes, believe it or not, it is time for us to act on a resolution for the 21-22 Schools of Choice resolution. What you see before you is the resolution that I brought in the past that says that we will open unlimited for grades K through 11. We do not usually open for grades 12. If a student has been with us previously, they are allowed to stay for their senior year, so there's no need to seek a schools of choice status for those students. So my recommendation is that we open the application window February 22nd of 21, and that we close it on August 18th of 2021. That gives us time to open in February, helps us with the, believe it or not, we're about to plan for kindergarten roundup. So opening in February allows us to capture those families that come to kindergarten roundup and just get their applications processed as soon as that opens. And then closing on August 18th gives us some time to make sure that we have all the classes balanced and we have all the staffing taken care of before we start the school year.
This is Schulte. I move the resolution for School of Choice 21-22 school year.
Fitzpatrick supports.
Motion by Schulte, support by Mr. Fitzpatrick. Any questions? Mr. Schulte,
Schulte, yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Fitzpatrick, yes.
Ms. Walsh,
Walsh, yes.
Mr. Zanetti,
Zanetti, yes.
Mr. Hiller,
Hiller, yes.
Mr. Garcia,
Garcia, yes.
Green, yes, the motion carries. Next item is bid pack number 1. This is a big one. Mr. Katzenbaum.
Yes, thank you. I'm excited to be able to bring forward tonight the recommendation for bid package number 1, which entails all of our summer of 2021 construction work. You have the complete bid package enclosed, but tonight we are recommending the award of 17 contracts for a total of $5,748,457. These contracts, as I mentioned, will fund all of next summer's bid work. $5,184,776 of the award will come from the 2020 bond issue. $563,681 will be funded from the 2018 bond issue savings that was still remaining in that bond issue fund. Taking a look at the list of projects, I will not name them all, but some of the highlights of the work that these contracts will be taken care of for next summer include the roof replacement for Briarwood Elementary, as well as the roof replacement for the maintenance and transportation complex, replacement of the gym floor at the Pinewood Elementary, new parking lot for Westwood Elementary on the west side of the building, which will be a parent pickup and drop off loop and move the traffic out of the tight main parking lot that we have now, new secure entryways for both Enterprise High School and Warren Woods Tower High School, new gym floor replacements for Warren Woods Middle School and Warren Woods Tower High School, as well as some playground improvements for the education center over here. And then the Warren Woods Middle School Stadium improvements are also a part of this bid package. And there's several other pieces that entail this work in total. So all of the bids were received. Our team, including Mr. Dishman, representatives from Clark Construction Company, Wakely, sat down and did post-bid interviews, went through all of the bidders that we are recommending this evening. And we are happy to be able to put forth a list of bidders that will be able to be our partners for this summer to help us get these projects done. And then at the next board meeting, we should have a couple of additional bid recommendations to bring forward as well. I know we talked about this at the previous board meeting, that we kind of needed to see what those dollar amounts were going to be on those 2 bid categories that were being rebid. We opened those bids on Friday, and right now preliminarily we are in pretty good shape. Those 2 bids came in much lower than they were originally bid, hence putting this project below budget. So we are more than comfortable putting forth the recommendation that we have in front of you tonight. And if there are any questions, we also have Mr. Dishman is on the line with us tonight, as well as representatives from both Clark Construction Company as well as Wakely are on the call with us this evening.
Hello, school board.
Before any questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Garcia has a few questions.
Motion by Hiller
Motion
to
by
accept the
Hiller,
bids.
Support by Schulte.
support by Schulte. Questions?
Yes, I have a few questions. Garcia?
Garcia.
Yeah, and this is just more for clarification, being a new board member, and just trying to get a little bit of a better understanding of the process, because this is significant construction. I would just like to ask, and Neil, feel free to answer, whoever is best to answer. In the vetting process, the pre-qualification and the post-qualification, Does anybody from the administration attend the vetting process? Or is that, or do we just leave that to the construction manager?
Mr. Cassenbaum?
Yeah, so
Can
Matt's,
you- Mr. Cassenbaum,
yes,
can you repeat the question? Because it was kind of,
Was it kind of blurry a little bit?
yeah,
Is that better?
yes.
Okay. I was just, my question is just a point of clarification for my own education, is that in the contractor qualification or the post interviews, is anyone from the administration involved in those meetings?
yes, Mr. Dishman sits in with the rest of our construction team, but he represents the administration in all of those post-bid interview meetings.
Okay. Second question I have is, since the 218 bond issue, have we ever had a trade contractor that had to be replaced for non-performance?
I don't believe we had any in the 2018 bond issue. Back in the 2007 bond issue, I believe it was, we had to do so.
Okay. And my last question is with regard to 13B, the exterior bleachers. They're coming out of Hewitt, Texas. Were they one of just the few people that bid on this, or we had no local companies or local companies in the tri-state area bid on the bleacher systems?
I can answer that.
Okay.
Actually, the other bid that we got in and the bleachers that we currently have are out of Texas, and for whatever reason, that's where these companies are located. So no, locally, we do not have anybody that I believe makes bleachers or bid on the project, but they do in some cases use local installers, and I believe that's the case on this one.
Okay.
And they have we have a local representative as well.
Is that where the press box came from?
That was Southern Bleachers, and they're out of Texas as well.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay. Those are end my questions. I appreciate it very much, gentlemen. Thank you for your answers.
You're welcome.
Neil, this is an impressive list of things that satisfy everything that we told our residents and parents that we would do. And I thank you and Stacy and everyone else for making sure that we followed through on it. Looks good.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, motion by Schultz, support by Hiller. Mr. Schultz.
Schulte, yes.
Mr. Hiller.
Hiller, yes.
Ms. Walsh.
Walsh, yes.
Mr. Zanetti.
Zanetti, yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick, yes. Good
Mr.
job.
Garcia.
Garcia, yes.
Green, yes. The motion carries. The next item is a change order, the data center equipment.
Yes, this is our favorite type of change order. We've come to the end of our data center equipment replacement project. And there was an allowance that was built into that contract that has partially been unused. So this change order is strictly to reduce the contractor's contract and return the funds back to the district.
Schulte, so moved.
Walsh supports.
Motion by Schultz, support by Ms. Walsh. Any questions? Mr. Schultz.
Schulte, yes.
Ms. Walsh.
Walsh, yes.
Mr. Zanetti.
Zanetti, yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick, yes.
Mr. Hiller.
Hiller, yes.
Mr. Garcia.
Garcia, yes.
Green, yes. The motion carries. The next item is personnel items. Leaves, Ms. Denowith.
We have no leaves this evening.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
10B, new hires. We have 7, right?
Yes, yes. We're very pleased to be able to bring forth a slate of new hires for you this evening. As you know, we added staff at the elementary level in order to help us maintain social distancing. So I'm recommending for you this evening Miss Valerie Austin, a first grade teacher at Briarwood, Alyssa Carbone, a fifth grade teacher at Pinewood, Olivia Matthews, a cognitively impaired teacher for Briarwood, Cheryl McGurran, a custodian at the middle school, Tracy Whetstone, a second grade teacher at Westwood, and Kathy Wood, a media teacher at Briarwood and Pinewood. And that also gives me great pleasure to recommend to you Rabab El-Gamal for pupil accounting supervisor. Rabab comes to us with 9 years of experience from a local charter school in working with pupil accounting and all of the reporting necessary. She comes highly recommended from not only the ISD, but our interview team here at the district, and we look forward to having her as part of our team.
Patrick makes a motion to accept the new hires as presented.
Motion by
Support by Hiller.
Support by Hiller. Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick, yes.
Mr. Hiller.
Hiller, yes.
Mr. Schulte.
Schulte, yes. I'd also like to say it's nice to see some of our former Warrenwood students returning to us as employees.
Yes.
Awesome. Mr.
Great.
Walsh.
Walsh, yes.
Mr. Zanetti.
Zanetti, yes.
Mr. Garcia.
Garcia, yes.
Green, yes. The motion carries. Next item is public expression.
Yes, so just as a reminder, we are streaming live to YouTube, so we have a 15-second delay. If you wish to participate in public expression, please call now and dial the number 646-558-8656. The meeting ID is 857-6930-6155, and the passcode is 549190. I will get us started with just a bit of good news. We were notified today from the College Board, which is the company that runs like all the advanced placement courses, and our school has been selected. Warren West Tower High School has been selected for the 2020 AP Computer Science Female Diversity Award. This award acknowledges 1,119 schools for their work towards equal gender representation during the 1920 school year. Nearly 37% more than the 818 schools that they were able to recognize last year. And we are one of only 831 schools to be recognizing for achieving this important result this year. So we're very proud of our CTE department, who will be here later on in February to talk about this exact program. And then obviously the teacher that we have, Mr. Tom Dembinski, who has gotten this program off the ground and is enrolling lots of kids, obviously, but not only boys but girls as well. And so we appreciate everything that they have done to get this wonderful program off the ground.
And as we wait, I'd like to once again thank Mr. Kassenbaum for an incredible job that he's done with these bid packages and safeguarded our bond money and made sure everything was straight and made sure that we kept our promises. Thank you, Neil.
Thank you very much. It's going to be an exciting summer. We're certainly going to, start to transform the district and continue to build off of the work we had started with the 2018 bond issue, and it's definitely something to be very proud of.
Thank you.
Hi, Stacy. Is there anybody else online for public expression?
Not that I see.
Okay. This is Mr. Zanetti, like public expression. So the winter sports delayed, as our student reps talked about. What's driving it? Is it part of the new governor's mandate, or is it just a carryover and it continues? Because originally we talked last month they were going to start on that Saturday, and then everything got pushed.
Yep, she came back out and said that none of the contact sports could start. They can do non-contact practices, but no contact practices. That's what they've actually pushed to the 21st of February or whatever the date that is, so that we're allowed to have swimming and bowling, but the basketball, obviously, and wrestling cannot, because they cannot have any contact. I know she said today in her press conference, there's been obviously a lot of pushback about that across the state. That we can literally have kids in school practicing a basketball unit in their PE class, but then they can't participate in the actual game or anything like that for any of those contact sports. So I know that there's been a lot of pushback. She said today that, it's just, she's trying to be very conscientious and step those things in and make sure that we don't see any increases. I think that with the opening of the restaurants on the 1st, to add another layer onto that with contact sports, I think that's what she was thinking, but I obviously can't speak for her. I do know that when they talked earlier with a lot of the closures, things even that we saw here, a lot of the cases that we saw were for some of those sports that were taking place intramurally, or perhaps a lot of the hockey teams and things like that, that there's not a school sport, but a lot of those I can't remember the name of them.
Club sports.
Yeah, club sports, or that was where they were seeing a lot of the transmission, because you have kids from all different types of communities, getting together and sharing any germs if they do have them. So that's what she currently says, and she has been, willing to listen and to update things frequently. So we're going to keep our fingers crossed that something changes earlier for those kids.
Okay, and then just the other thing, just for my fellow board members, I don't know if you're following the Chippewa Valley board recall issue. It looks like the petition got approved. Now they got to go out for signatures. So it's interesting if you kind of read through the articles of what's transpired in that district, and it all had to do with communication in the board and the superintendent being aligned and communicating with the community. So that's one thing we always strive to do here, right? And that's it's one of our strengths. So we continue to take the high road, and we won't run into issues like similar districts out there. So just if you haven't been aware of that, you should make yourself aware of that. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. There's no one else, Mr. Green.
Okay. Item 12 is adjournment.
This is Schulte. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Or by
Zanetti
Hiller.
will support.
Motion by Schultz, support by Zanate. Very weird without Mr. Bell.
Yes, it is.
Mr. Schultz.
Schulte, yes. I wasn't sure if you're taking roll, but
I am sorry, Mr.
Okay.
Who was the second, Mr. Green?
Zanate.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear you. Yeah, Zanetti, yes.
Ms. Walsh.
Walsh, yes.
Patrick.
Fitzpatrick, yes.
Mr. Hiller.
Hiller, yes.
Mr. Garcia.
Garcia, yes.
Green, yes. Motion carries. We are adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.